Hi, I'm Dustin Atwood, Master Certified Technician for A1 Custom Car Care. Been in the business a long time at this point, well over 20 years. Really still love what I do for a living. So hopefully whatever it is you chose as your profession, or sometimes your profession chooses you, I hope you still enjoy it. I'm going to talk about AC real quick. This is not going to be a long video. I feel like it's very important. We're mid-July. We're in a heat index right now here in Southwest Missouri, and everybody's using their AC to the max. And so there's a couple of things that you need to be mindful of, that if your AC is not working real great and you prolong getting it in and getting it serviced, you don't have to bring it to us. But just be mindful of who is doing your service work, because we've seen a lot of, maybe do-it-yourselfers, and I'm not throwing any stones. Hopefully, maybe I share some information with you guys that you maybe prevent some of the issues, as well as if you're at a shop that is not getting your AC system taken care of correctly, you kind of have an idea that, hey, maybe, I need to try something different. So I've done a video with these here. And I'm going to share just a quick couple of stories with you guys. And so this is a BG FrigiQuiet. This is a synthetic oil. It also has a tracer dye in it. This is made for 134A, which is the majority of you folks out there that probably find this video. So as your refrigerant moves through the system, it is going to carry a certain amount of oil in that system and move it around. That's really how AC dye works. Now, I have been at training classes, and they say that that's not how AC dye, or that's not how oil is moved through the system. Well, I can tell you from at least my 20 plus years of working on cars, on my AC machine, is you evacuate out the the refrigerant, and you hold it, you measure it, and that's typically what we do is evacuate and weigh the Freon or refrigerant. Freon is copyrighted to R12, I believe. If you weigh the refrigerant, in my system, there's a oil drain container that I have to watch, and a lot of times I'm looking to see how much oil I've taken out of the system. Now, that may tell me that there's not enough oil in it, and maybe we need to add a little oil. It may tell me that there's too much oil in the system. If I evacuate out like ounces of oil, somebody has added too much of this, and you can slug the system with too much oil as well. So, if a little's good, a lot's better. That's not applicable in the air conditioning world as far as cars. I would venture to say residential, HVAC as well, commercial, etc. So I'm going to look at a couple of things. I'm going to look at how much refrigerant is in the system. So I want to weigh it, make sure the charge is correct. Very important. Early in my career, when you dealt with R12, you'd have a 3 or 4 pound system. You could leak out a pound of refrigerant and not really notice a lot. Today's systems, a lot of you are at a pound or even right under a pound. So 3 or 4 ounces, that's a very high percentage low on refrigerant, and that could be multiple degrees out of your vent temperature. So we're going to evacuate it out. We're going to weigh the system. And depending on what we get, we're probably going to recommend a oil additive, potentially one with a tracer dye. Now, I know in residential and commercial, you guys don't like dyes, and I get it, but in cars, this is a normal practice. And I have found a tremendous amount of leaks using dye over the years. But what really sold me on this is we had put an engine in a S10 Blazer. I want to say it was probably a 99 or 2000. Some of the best customers that I've ever been able to work with, just as far as they wanted to take care of their car, and we kept this Blazer running for probably 20 years. I actually had a buddy of mine working on it for another person telling me about it, and I said, hey, I think I know this Blazer, and so I asked him some questions, and he's like, yeah, I think this is the Blazer, because we had done so much work to that. The folks, I believe, now have passed it on to, I think, one of their grandchildren, and apparently they sold it. But long story short, I put an engine in this, or we put an engine in this, probably early in my career. So I'm going to say somewhere around 2005, maybe. and it had a knock, low compression, and so we didn't perform or run the air conditioning to check it. They were there for an engine related issue. So we put an engine in it, and we were getting everything ready to go, and we turned the AC on to make sure it worked, and the compressor sounded terrible. I mean, it sounded not as bad as the knocking engine, but it was pretty close. And we're like, what are we going to do here? These people are just so invested in this engine. We don't want to have to call them back and say, hey, you need a compressor. And so we had just started our relationship with BG Products back then. And a normal charge is 2 ounces, which is right about there. Just this top section. And so with the compressor running, we have an injection tool, and we added this oil just to see whether we could lubricate that compressor. And I literally heard the compressor get quieter and then completely go silent and work just as normal. Now, if you've been running yours for a long time, the ship may have sailed on yours. I'm just giving you a first-hand account. And because we serviced that vehicle for the next 15 years, eventually I had to put a compressor on it. But it was 3 seasons or 3 years later because we put a good oil in there, and it bought them some more time. Just imagine if you had added this to your system throughout your life of your AC system. At some point, I'm not talking about over-oiling the system. I'm just talking about adding some of this to it. What difference do you think that would have made? Now, I have this bottle here, which this is for my folks driving 2015 or newer vehicles. This is for the 1234YF, or 1234YF. This is a different but same oil that is compatible for that refrigerant. So if you're driving new vehicles out there, there's a lot of shops that don't have the ability to service your AC system. A1 Custom definitely does. And so whether you're having issues or you just want some maintenance to get more years out of your system, probably not a bad idea. So what do I do, and how do I get as many years out of my system as possible? First off, the moment I notice a change in the vent temperature, I'm going to do an AC check. Now, some of you are probably going to say, well, you're at a shop and you do this for a living. That's not feasible for everybody else. And you're right. But the alternative is not feasible either. The alternative is the fact that if you prolong, once your system starts to degrade, it will self-destruct inside, and it will cost you way more money down the road. So if it runs low on refrigerant, it's running low on oil. If it runs low on oil, it's going to go to starving, and it's going to mechanically explode inside, push that oil throughout the whole system, and then we have a whole nother topic. So being proactive helps tremendously. Now, I've talked about this probably ad nauseum at this point. This is a 134A with a stop leak or sealer, okay? Do not use this. I had some comments out there, some folks that have used it. I get it. They used a little bit of it. Once the system completely craps out, they're going to sell the car. The next guy that tries to fix this, if it's me or you out there, and you suck this stop leak into your machine, it clogs up your machine. Well, if it clogs up my machine, it's going to clog up your car too. So if you have a leak, a lot of times it's an O-ring or it's something cheap. I fix them all the time with, minimal cost. And this will guarantee you an AC system failure. You can get small 12-ounce, I think they're 12-ounce cans of completely virgin refrigerant. If you're going to charge it yourself, do that, okay? If you're going to charge it yourself, keep in mind that if you're low on refrigerant, you're probably low on some kind of oil, and it'll self-destruct. So it's hot. I want you guys to stay cool. Nobody wants to be sweating and dying before they go into work or the doctor or whatever. Just food for thought out there. I'd love to know your comments down in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about whatever we got going on as far as air conditioning. If you've had luck with this, tell me about it. If you've seen it completely destroy whatever you got going on like I have, I'd love to know about it too. But I hope this helps, or at least, put some knowledge out there and maybe helps you stay cool out there. I'll talk to you in the comments or in the shop.